But wait, there's more reading. Everyone's going like, fuck this. I'm out. Book 1, Chapter 2, The Human Kingdoms. Once Ascalon was a beautiful, fertile land. The human kingdoms, the kingdom of Ascalon. Once Ascalon was a beautiful, fertile land of rolling green countryside and magnificent cities. Her people were viewed as a bit grim by their neighbours, but this was perhaps to be expected given their never-ending war against the Char. Indeed, it was their unfailing vigilance, their great northern wall, and the blood they shed each year to defend it that had protected not only Ascalon, but also Crida and all through the ages. Then came the invasion, and with it the searing. Anyone alive today will remember the day the lands of Ascalon were blasted and torn with magic fire. Whole cities and guilds were destroyed in the searing, and the might of Ascalon was shattered. Now the great northern wall lies broken, and the Char have overrun much of the kingdom, defiling it with their unholy shrines, killing those who stand in their way. The survival of Ascalon hinges on but a single remaining corner of the fallen kingdom, capital city of Rin. In the final years of the last Guild War, the people of Rin looked to a soldier named Adalburn, simple man of humble origins, who rallied the people with his courage and cunning, steeled them not only against the Guilds of War and Crida, but also against the terrors of the Char. The sudden destruction of most of the kingdom during the searing has taken much of the flight out of the man now known as King Adalburn. He has become stubborn and set in his ways, afraid of losing what little he has left. But in his son Rurik, the people see a leader with the courage to perhaps help them reclaim their fallen kingdom. The survivors of Ascalon live in a state of constant warfare, using hit-and-run tactics and the remnants of the Great Wall to prevent any significant advances by the Char into their territory. King Adalburn has circled the wagons, so to speak, content to simply defend what Ascalon has left and live to fight another day. Prince Rurik, on the other hand, is far more daring than his father thinks is wise, and has even suggested that the time may be coming to launch an offence against the Char. Already the rumbling of the winds of change can be heard in the streets. People are frightened. Winds of change. They wonder what will become of them. Some even wonder aloud if Adalburn has lost what it takes to steer Ascalon back from the brink. They wish to see the prince step up and take command of the kingdom. Perhaps under his guidance the people of Ascalon will live on to see another golden age. The Kingdom of Or. Situated on a peninsula south of Ascalon, west of the Crystal Desert, Or was a vibrant, proud and prosperous nation. Its citizens were the favoured of the gods, living in the shadows of Ara, the deserted city, once inhabited by the likes of Melandru, Dwayne and Balthazar. Oh. So just the three gods. Oh no, I was just explaining some of them. Deeply spiritual, the Orions looked after the buildings and structures left behind when the gods left Turia, caring for them in the hopes that one day the divine beings who created magic and bestowed it upon the world would return. The Orions were a peaceful people, hoping only to do their duty toward their gods and content to be rewarded in either this life or the next. When the guilds began feuding, or as the nation tried to stay out of the conflict, this was not the sort of struggle that entire kingdoms got involved in. But when the strife overflowed into armed conflict and guilds from the other human nations began fighting in the streets of Avra, Or rose to defend itself in the city of the gods. Soon after Or mobilized its armies, Crida and Ascalon did as well, and what started as a dispute between localized groups became an all-out war. The guild wars raged for nearly 50 years. During that time, none of the three human empires was able to assert dominance over either of the other two. While Ascalon, Or, and Crida were busy fighting with each other, they became blind to the threat from the north, the Char. The northern beast swept in, taking Ascalon a spectacular magical battle. First, Or was saved from much of the fighting. Guilds with allegiances to Ascalon and Crida withdrew, heading back to defend their homes. Or regrouped, granted a moment to prepare simply because they were further south. The Char had to make their way through Ascalon before they could reach the gates of Ara, but eventually Ascalon fell and the Char arrived in Or. Hopes were high that the Char would be defeated quickly. The Orient army was the equal of any interior, and the Invaders had already fought a long battle against the Ascalons, but those hopes were dashed in less than 12 hours. The Invaders reached the gate of Ara without breaking stride. The Orients failed to protect their charge. With defeat at the doorstep and the kingdom nearly in ruins, one man turned to forbidden magic. King's own personal advisor in the matters of the Cane took it upon himself to destroy the Invaders no matter the cost. Unrolling one of the lost scrolls. Welcome in, everyone. How was everyone? Let's see what your other clip is. Might be the same one. Oh no.
Oh no! There's too many of them!
Are you trying to run?
Ow! Ow!
I think it just finished Sheriff's Furnace. Oh, nice.
What the hell happened? What happened there? I teleported! Heal me, heal me, heal me, heal me! Oh no, this is fucked!
Here.
I'm stuck! I'm stuck! I'm stuck! I can't get past them! Run away! What happened here?
Yeah. The classic getting stuck on enemies when you think you're running, you're like, what the fuck?
Why won't it let me? There we go. I'm through.
Oh, you did it.
Through.
You have the power.
Ow, 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 ow.
You've got this.
Ow.
Keep going.
Ow, ow.
Going.
Ow, ow.
Oh no. Oh, you. You're still stuck. So I always pull back a little bit to straighten them out on the line. Yeah. Oh, you were still stuck. Oh, that was entertainment though. So welcome in, both of you and everyone else. Hopes were high that the Char would be defeated quickly. The Orient army was the equal of any interior, and the Invaders had already fought a long battle against the Ascalons, but those hopes were dashed in less than 12 hours. The Invaders reached the gates of Ara without breaking stride. The Orients failed to protect their charge. With defeat at the doorstep and the kingdom nearly in ruins, one man turned to forbidden magic. Oh, I think I just read this. The king's own personal advisor in the matters of the Cane took it upon himself to destroy the Invaders, no matter the cost. So, Carrot. What have you done, Narix? King's own personal advisor in the matters of the Cane took it upon himself to destroy the Invaders, no matter the cost. Unrolling one of the lost scrolls kept inside a warded vault deep within the catacombs below Ara, he spoke the words of a litany that spelled the end of the kingdom of all forever. There are few who survived that day, now known as the Cataclysm. While the Char were never allowed to set foot in Ara. I know what I've read now. Few count what the king's advisor did on the days of victory. The resulting explosion fouled the invading army where it stood, but so too did it sink the entire peninsula, leaving only a scattering of small islands in its place. The beautiful city of Ara was consumed. What's left above water now lies in a pile of ruins, blackened by the cataclysm and years of neglect. All that remains in the wreckage of war are the wandering dead, those souls unable to rest in the shadow of this great disaster. And I love how it has a picture of a mantle. Kingdom of Crida. There are two types of humans in Crida, those who worship the mysterious unseen ones and those who do not. Worshippers have become known as the White Mantle because of the long white, sleeveless robes many of them wear. It is the responsibility of the White Mantle to oversee the other humans and impose upon them the rules and laws of the Unseen Ones. Those inside the organization receive special privileges, more food, better clothing, access to books, simply for abiding by the rules of the Unseen Ones and carrying out the orders handed down by the White Mantle High Priest. To the Cretans, the White Mantle are the root of law and order, the protectors of saviors, if you will, of their lands. The White Mantle maintain a series of temples all over the continent. Members of this organization frequently, though not always, choose to reside in these temples to better perform their duties to the mantle and to more effectively worship the Unseen Ones. Since the end of the last Guild War and the repelling of the Char invasion, the White Mantle have maintained a high level of military preparedness. They don't ever want to be caught off guard again, and they often keep large stores of weapons inside their temples to use in case of emergency. It's also not uncommon for followers of the Mantle philosophy to be highly trained warriors. Fighting skills will come in handy if the day comes when they will need to once again defend Crida from invasion. Sol D'Alesso, founder of the White Mantle. Sol D'Alesso was a fallen man, gambler and a drunk. Sol reached the lowest point of his life when he lost a bet he could not repay. At the time, the local betting house was run by the Lucky Horseshoe gambling guild, whose influence spanned almost the entire length of the continent. To avoid defaulting on his payment, Sol took to robbing merchants travelling on the road from Beetleton to Shaymore. Though he successfully paid his debt to the Lucky Horseshoe, he was eventually fingered. That's what it says, right? What? Though he successfully paid his debt to the Lucky Horseshoe, he was eventually fingered by one of his victims and tried as a thief. Okay. His punishment was exile from the kingdom of Kryta. I'm sure I'm reading that right. The local authorities blindfolded him and rode him out 3 full weeks before leaving him to fend for himself. Story times. Had to grab energy drink or else. Oh, had to grab an energy drink or fall asleep. What are you trying to say, Jay? Alone, broken, lost, Sol wandered through a dense forest for several days, surviving on only roots and berries. On the 4th day, delirious with hunger, Sol emerged from the trees to see what he thought was a hallucination. A city of massive towers reaching into the heavens. The architecture was astounding, and the creatures who lived here were unlike any he had ever seen. Walking down into the city, Sol got a closer look at the denizens of this place. They were tall and thin, with why is with in there twice? Strange wing-like appendages that waved about in the slightest breeze. When they walked, their feet seemed not to touch the ground. When they spoke, it was the most melodious sound he had ever heard. Surely these creatures were the stuff of divinity. Hungry and exhausted, his clothes ragged and dirty, Sol dropped to his knees and touched his forehead to the ground. He had found his gods, and they in turn had found their most devoted disciple. Sol D'Alesso returned to Kryta a changed man. His rags had been replaced with a sleeveless, pure white robe embroidered with golden thread. His once sunken, sickly features were again full and healthy. He no longer craved a bottle, no longer wished to strike it rich gambling. His life had a purpose. He had returned to spread the word, to deliver his finding to the humans of Kryta. During this time, the Krytan Empire was in the midst of 2 wars, one against the guilds of the other human nations and another against the beast-like Char. Food was becoming scarce as invaders burned the crops and salted the fields. It was then that Sol came to the people offering help from his powerful enigmatic gods. Sol's new faith was so powerful that soon he had a small following. As a group they travelled the land, recruiting more and more, offering salvation from trying times. Though no one ever saw the winged gods of their cities of massive towers, they took Sol at his word that they did truly exist. Sol was a shepherd, and his sheep followed his every step. His sheep have run amok. I don't know if anyone in here understands that reference, but it's a Viva reference. Or at least, unless they got it from somewhere else. Anyway. Right, where am I up to? Those who showed real conviction were given white robes, each embroidered with gold thread. This was the beginning of the White Mantle. Obedient, outnumbered, the leaders, and facing almost certain death, the people cried to look to Sol to lead them out of their darkest hour. Sol was transformed from a messenger into the general of a great army. With their new faith and their new leader, Kryta and the White Mantle managed to push out the Char, forcing them back over the mountains. Though his efforts were successful, Sol eventually lost his life fighting the war that freed the humans of Kryta. In the last offensive of the war against the Char, Sol led his troops deep into Char territory. His network of spies, though normally quite effective, failed him on this day. The Char were waiting in ambush, and the beastly creatures slaughtered Sol's unit to the man. Consequently, Sol became a martyr for the White Mantle. His teachings live on in the temples, and his name adorns the sea coast on the southern edge of Kryta. Memorial to a man who brought peace, prosperity to the people of this tropical region.